Welcome back to Objective 7 to 8, solving multi-step equations with variables on both sides of the equal sign. Let me remind you of our goal. We want to get the variable by itself. So when we look at problem number 1, we're solving. We'll notice we have 2x plus 4 plus 2x equals 3x minus 5 plus 3. The first thing we got to do is we have to remind ourselves to solve. We have to do reverse order of operations. So PEMDAS backwards. We also have to remember that we have to do something to the left side. We also do it to the right side. So when we look at the problem number 1, the first thing we're going to do is combine like terms. So we have 2x plus 2x, which is 4x. We bring down the 4, and we have equals. We look at combine like terms here. Nothing is like with 3x, but negative 5 plus 3 is negative 2. Now, when we look at the problem, we draw our line to separate our equal sign, to separate our sides. And then we're going to decide which side do we want to get the variable on. In this case, we're going to get the x on the left side, and on the right side, we're going to get the numbers. So now we start moving the 3x on the right side by subtracting it. And 4x minus 3x is 1x. We bring down the positive 4. 3x minus 3x cancels out. We bring down the minus 2. Now we have to get the numbers on the right side. So we look at the plus 4, we subtract 4, and we have 4 minus 4, they cancel. Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. We bring down the x, and we have x. And you can see we have x equals negative 6 for our final answer. If we look at problem number 2, it's very similar. The first thing we have to do is identify any like terms on the left side or the right side. If we look at the left side, 6x minus 5, neither term is like, so there's nothing to do. However, on the right side, we look at 2x minus 14 minus 5x. 2x and minus 5x, or negative 5x, are the like terms, so we have to combine them. So, on the left side, it's going to stay the same. On the right side, we're going to do 2x minus 5x for negative 3x, and the minus 14. Then we're going to follow the same procedure that we did above. We're going to draw our line to separate our equal sign and our sides of our problem. We're going to combine like terms. We're going to choose to get the variables on the left side. So therefore, I'm going to add 3x to both sides. 6x plus 3x is 9x. I bring down the minus 5. 3x and negative 3x cancel. I bring down the minus 14. Now I want to go ahead and combine like terms by adding the negative 5 to the right side, because we chose to get the numbers on the right side. Bring down the 9x. The negative 5 plus 5 cancel out. Negative 14 plus 5 is negative 9. We have 9x equals negative 9. Divide by 9. And we get x equals negative 1. When you look at problem set 2b, it's a little more confusing, this equation. It has a lot going on. But again, remember our rules. Look to combine like terms on both sides. You may want to use your calculator for this, as the decimals seemed a little bit more cumbersome than the kind of the integer numbers. So when we look at the problem B, we have 5.2x and 8.1x. Those are like terms. So we can hop over to our calculator quickly. And we can take 5.2 and add 8.1, which is 13.3. So we have 13.3 x. Negative 12 plus 5, we can use our calculator if we're not feeling good about that, and we can do negative 12 plus 5, which is -7. So we have -7 equals, if we look at the right side, we have 2.7x and -6x, so we can use our calculator for that. 2.7 minus 6, -3.3. And finally, if we look at 4.3 and 8, if you're having difficulty with that, just use your calculator. 4.3 plus 8 is 12.3. So plus 12.3. Now we've combined like terms on each side. So again, we go back, we draw our line to separate our equal sign. We're going to put the variables on this side. We're going to put the numbers on this side. And we're going to start by doing the x's first. So this -3.3x needs to be added to both sides. And again, if you're having difficulty with this 13.3x and the 3.3x, just use your calculator. 13.3 plus 3.3, you get 16.6. So we get 16.6 x, bring down the -7, equals, these 3.3's cancel because one's negative, one's positive, bring down the 12.3. So now, if we want to get the numbers on the right side, we have to add 7. The 7's cancel out. We bring down the 16.6x. And 12.3 plus 7, use your calculator. 12.3 plus 7, you get 19.3. Now we want to divide by 16.6, because that's the one with the variable. And we'll get x equals 16.6, so x equals, again, use the calculator, 19.3 divided by 16.6, and we get 1.16265. If we want, it's okay with me to round, we can make it 1.16. So if we do that, we got 1.16. Instead of having it equals, technically speaking, it's not exactly equal. It's approximately, because we rounded it, so we use these little double squiggles, and that is where we would lie for our answer. Again, when we look at problem set 2C, we have some fractions now. That's the only thing that could possibly cause us problems. But thankfully, we have our TI Nspire, which will make our life a lot easier. So when we look at the problem C, the first thing again we do is we look to combine like terms on the left side and or the right side. So on the left side, we'll see that there are two different x terms. There are 5/2 x and there's 4x. So we need to combine those. So we're going to use our calculator. Remember, to use your calculator, you can simply do control division sign to get the fraction key. So you have 5 halves plus 4. Oops. If you do what I just did, you just delete it. You always want to make sure that you're entering it correctly. And you get 13 halves. So now we have 13 halves x. We also have -3 and +3/8, which we have to combine. So we're going to use our calculator, -3 plus, and again, control division sign to get our fraction, 3/8, and we will get -21/8. So we're going to write -21/8 equals, and you'll notice on the right hand side there are no like terms. There's an x term and a number. So now we're back to drawing our line and doing the process as usual. We want to get the variables on the left side, the numbers on the right. So we're going to subtract 7x to both sides. On this side, we're going to have to use our calculator. So we're going to go to 13 halves. Again, control division. 13 halves minus 7. Make sure you use the minus sign and not the negative. And you get negative 1/2. So on this side, we get negative 1/2 x. We bring down the negative 21/8 equals 7x and minus 7x cancel. We bring down the negative 7. Now we have to get the numbers on the right side, so we have to add 21/8 because that's the opposite. On the left side, we bring down the negative 1/2 x. These cancel. We're going to go back to our calculator to do the negative 7 plus 21/8. So we have negative 7. Now you're using the negative sign. Plus 21/8. And you get negative 35/8. So now we have the x term. We always divide by the one with the x term. And we're going to find out what x equals. Now this is where the calculator really comes in handy, because we can do the fraction that we saw, negative 35/8, and then make sure you're off to the side with your cursor. Hit the division, because that's what we're doing. We're dividing, and then negative 1/2 is what we're dividing. And it gives the answer in an improper fraction, but it does the work for us. 35/4 is the answer. So x equals 35/4. And we're done. Good job, and good luck.